She came to me crying. Mascara streaked down her cheek like black ash after a burn. Her voice cracked on every other word. "He cheated on me, Dad! I caught him! With her! In our bed!" I stared at her. Not at the tears, not at the broken voice. At her hands. Still shaking, not from sadness, but panic. Like someone afraid of consequences, not loss. She wanted comfort, reassurance. Instead, I said it, cold, unblinking. "You deserve what's coming." Her breath hitched. A pause, confusion, disbelief, a crack in her pride. "If your mother ever did that to me," I continued, "I'd walk out without a word." Behind her, at the kitchen doorway, my wife laughed. Low, dry, like the sound of something old and brittle finally snapping. Then she said, "You should have left me after the first work trip, 30 years ago." My daughter didn't even flinch. She looked away. She knew. They both knew. And I said nothing. I just stood, and I left. I walked out the door into a silence so deep it hummed in my skull. The weight didn't hit me like an explosion. It settled, like dust, like rot, slowly, methodically filling every crack of memory. 30 years, a marriage, a life, and all of it a hollow set piece, propped up by lies, routine, and mutual performance. I thought back, late nights with no calls, laughter in the bathroom while she texted, my daughter, always slightly too distant, too watchful. The betrayal didn't scream, it whispered. She didn't deny it, she offered it, casually, like the truth was a glass of wine spilled on the rug, annoying, but no longer worth cleaning. That's when I knew. This wasn't the first time, and I wasn't the only one betrayed. I didn't speak to either of them after that night, not out of anger, but precision. I collected, observed, logged patterns. My wife's calendar, always just a little off. My daughter's birth certificate, timelines that didn't match my old deployment records. I found my old journals. She never visited during that first business trip, but she had company. I just never asked who. I ordered a DNA test, sent strands of hair I discreetly took from my daughter's brush, sent my own blood, labeled discreetly, anonymous, untraceable. I traced call logs, found old email backups, conversations too intimate, inside jokes I was never part of. Each night I'd eat in silence. They laughed in the next room, like nothing had shifted. But I had. Internally, I was no longer in that house. I had moved into a different space, one where emotion was just data, and facts, weapons. The envelope came 3 weeks later. No branding, just a white seal, cold. I opened it at the breakfast table. Neither of them noticed. Until I slid the paper across the counter. My daughter picked it up first. Her lips moved, reading, rereading, pausing at the words, "Probability of paternity 0.00%. She didn't speak. She just froze. My wife glanced over, then smiled. Not nervously, not guiltily, but defiantly. Like it was finally out, and I was finally free. She reached for her coffee. "I always thought you'd figure it out eventually," she said, "but you never asked." I said nothing. I just stood and walked out again. The next day, I filed every financial document I'd buried over the years. Assets she didn't know I'd secured. Accounts in my name. A second property she never knew about. A will rewritten. I called her boss, sent an anonymous tip about undeclared commissions. Then, I waited. Until the silence turned into tension. Until their voices became whispers. 3 days later, I blocked their numbers. On the 4th, the calls started. By the 5th, it was 105 missed calls. My voicemail overflowed. Panicked messages from my daughter. Tight-voiced ones from my wife. I didn't mean, please just talk to me. You knew. You knew, didn't you? Is that why? They weren't crying for me. They were screaming at the dark, realizing it would never answer back. They didn't know what I'd told my lawyer, didn't know that everything they relied on was tied to me, and that I'd already cut the cord. I now live on the coast, alone. The air tastes cleaner here. Even silence feels like relief. Sometimes I imagine what they're doing. If she's still trying to explain to people why the house is gone, why the bank accounts froze, why her daughter won't stop asking who her real father was. I don't smile at the thought. It doesn't make me happy, but it makes me whole. They wanted me to feel something, hurt, rage, regret, but I feel nothing, just peace. And for the first time in 30 years, I sleep.